この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。Hi, I'm kind of early. I'm getting started kind of early. I haven't uploaded the last episode. I haven't done the thumbnail. I'm going to do some of that as I talk. But I just wanted to throw on the camera and start talking, do something a little bit different, mix it up, and see how it goes. And talk about some thoughts about the upcoming episodes and previous episodes and stuff. So, last time, at least fell in love, I guess. Maybe in lust from one side, but I don't think so. It seems like it could actually work, which is kind of amazing. We did a bunch of fights and defeated a bunch of characters. We were introduced to a blue girl who obviously is going to be important, but has been unable to actually speak her mind yet, or approach Rudy in any useful way yet, so she's a mystery. We met the King of Demons, who is a much larger, many-armed carbon copy of the Queen who we met before. Fun. So, a bunch of cool things. And our next episode's title is something to do with a girl in a white mask, right? Because I remember pogging out pretty hard to whatever the title was. Yeah, the white mask. Pretty poggy. Okay. So that's Nanahoshi. If it's not Nanahoshi, it's gotta be Nanahoshi, right? Okay. Tons of stuff going on. Tons of cool things. But everybody's talking about Beast Girl titties. And there have been a couple of things over the course of this season that have seemed like the controversial element. Because of course there's going to be one. It's Mushoku, right? I thought it was going to be the slavery thing for the most part. It seemed like the most reasonable, and there seemed to be a little bit of mud in the waters. But mostly it ended up just being people saying that they thought there would be controversy, and then there wasn't much. Everybody ended up, I mean, there was some, but it ended up kind of okay on that. But Beast Girl titties got some people, and I don't want to dismiss their concerns. But I've been spending some time evaluating it, and it's turned into some interesting discussion, and some interesting criticism, and some shitty discussion. Some interesting criticism of my own takes that's forced me to go and reevaluate a little bit, and so I have. And so that's part of why I wanted to pull up the camera and start talking early, so I could start to sort through some of those ideas. I'm not sure how to feel about it. It feels pretty thin, overall, in terms of the justifications that a lot of people give for it. But I think a lot of those justifications are actually incorrect. Like, I don't think that they mirror the intent of the sequence. I'm not 100% sure what the intent of the sequence is. That's inevitable. There's always a disconnect between viewer and creator. And there's, as I always like to mention, there's often a disconnect between creator and creation. The intent that the creator has is often really secondary to what actually comes through. So, what was Rifujine's intent? I can't say. Not really. What does the scene do? What does it make me think of? What does it make me feel? Well, it makes me feel distaste toward Rudy, certainly. It makes me feel pretty weird. I don't like the behavior. I'm not terribly comfortable with it. As soon as Rudy finds himself in a bit of a position of power, without repercussions, he takes full advantage of it. And there's an implication that were he sexually active, he might take more advantage of it. Maybe. But that's all just in our heads, isn't it? The reality of the scene, and this is a thin justification, but it still is the justification. The reality of the scene is that Rudy is in this location in order to try to fix his physical erectile dysfunction. and psychological. And he's using anything he can find to make that happen. And that, I think, is his intent when he gropes the girls, which is what a lot of people have a particular problem with. I see that as a particularly, obvious thing for Rudy to do. Pre-ED or post. Rudius has always been touchy-feely and moved toward things that were rapey, let's be honest, since episode 8 of the first season, since episode 1 of the first season. Has always been that way. He's always been this way. Past life, present life. Always. He's been in different circumstances, though. Well, he was a child first and had to act his age. Got away with it when he could, but still had to act his age. And then he was in various relationships or mentorships or close companionships with characters who had the ability to prevent him from doing anything pretty easily. Or characters who he grew to respect, Roxy and Eris, namely. When Rudy would try something with Eris, he'd get smacked away. When he would try something with Roxy, he'd get shamed for it. And both reasonably so. And both established a set of principles, a set of, obvious repercussions, a process, a thing that made sense. A negotiated relationship. Negotiated in each case by Rudy pushing the boundaries as far as they would go until the boundaries were placed. Usually violently. Okay, right. Rudy hasn't gotten better. The whole time that he was around Eris, he grew to understand and respect her as a person a bit more. Mostly because he wasn't allowed to get closer to her in the ways that he was actually compelled to. Then he does, and then gets betrayed. And falls the fuck apart, shatters. And that's the Rudy that we've known for a while. He's been grinding physically. He's been seeking stuff. He's been working. But he hasn't really changed much in terms of his actual desires. Except that he's got this very narratively convenient, I'll admit, physical and physiological and psychological issue with his willy. I've seen a number of people say that they find distasteful that they feel like they're supposed to feel sorry for Rudy's erectile dysfunction. I don't feel sorry for Rudy at all, and I don't feel like I'm supposed to. Doesn't seem right. Nor does it seem to me like I'm supposed to forgive his behavior somehow because he's not doing it for that reason or something. That's a silly take, I think. I think that a lot of the defenses that I've seen of Rudius's behavior are also quite silly and just missed the mark of the purpose of the sequence entirely. What Rudy does to the Beast Girls is exactly on point, and it's part of the relationship that we're building mostly with Fitz, and the new dynamic that Rudius is constructing of himself at the top of a particular type of social hierarchy in this school. Rudius came into the school, and you'll remember a few episodes I said, wow, we're going to magic school. That's going to be interesting because we are actually a serious business fighter type out there in the world. And a couple of these other people are too, but Rudy's got a bit of a leg up on them in terms of experience and power and prowess and having seen a bunch of the world and stuff. Should be interesting to see what kinds of power dynamics shake out of this. And what we have seen is exactly that. In all of Rudius's previous relationships with women, the women have had the ability to mostly say no, right? Right. That's not so anymore. We've shifted the dynamics significantly. First of all, Fitz is acting male, and has been around Luke and all these other people in the palace and is totally inured, mostly, to this sort of behavior. So Fitz isn't going to say, hey, you're way out of line. Then we've got the Beast Girls who, convenient though it may be, live in their own power-based hierarchy, and Rudy is capable of flipping that on its head and then exploiting them to any degree that he wants to. These are all characters who aren't going to say no or smack him away in a real sense the way that Eris would. We get a bit of a lip service to that as the Beast Girls clawed his face, but it's more of a running gag than it is a real established part of the relationship, and it doesn't prevent his behavior at all. And he knows that it's not actually a thing, and they kind of know that it's not actually a thing, but that's not to justify it. That's not to say, oh, it's not so bad. I'm not saying that it's not so bad. I'm saying that they won't stop him. Rudy is right now in the midst of an arc of power corrupting. Right? Right? He hasn't fixed his fucking damage. He hasn't gone through and worked through any of his trauma. He hasn't figured any of it out. He's just grinding in the morning runs and the physicality, and he's grinding on the information and the progress, and then he's doing pretty mediocre things socially as a continued result of his pathology. He's not okay, man. The dude's not okay. He's not just not okay, he's now in a place where he's allowed to flourish as such, right? There's nobody around him telling him otherwise. There's nobody around him, there's not even Soldat who would recognize it, right? Right? Rudy has no effective criticism or accountability partners or anything here. The best that he's got is a pair of ridiculous panties in a box that he worships. Ridiculous, right? Right. Yes, absolutely. He's reverted 100% to all his otakuism. Ed from Psychotrists, credit where credit is due, referred to it as a relapse of his sexual addiction. I think is specifically what Ed called it. And that's a reasonable way of seeing it as well. I think that's obviously a part of it. But my viewpoint's maybe even a little bit broader than that. We've got a character who was continuously a little bit held down by his circumstance, and now he's got nothing to lose and nobody to tell him not to do what he's doing. In fact, he's been encouraged to go this direction to some extent by God himself, right? So let's talk about the specifics of the action. And again, ain't justifying it, but let's look at how bad Rudy be. He be pretty mean, and cruel and vindictive and wrong and petty and stupid and foolish. And mean. And mean, right? But he's also perfectly in character in a couple of ways. First off, a lot of people have missed something that is, I think, really obvious. Linnea and Persena are bullies in Rudy's mind. Whether they're actually bullies or not is somewhat irrelevant because Rudy's twisted, okay? But they're bullies in Rudy's mind. They are his natural enemy, his most hated enemy. They have hurt someone that he cares about, Zanaba. They've destroyed something that he cares about, the figurine. And just like a shitty, stupid otaku whose Gundam gets broken by some dumb Gyaru, which is exactly the sequence that we've just had happen, right? That's actually what's just happened. These are two Gyaru who've gone, haha, stupid otaku, and they've laughed at him, challenged him to a fight in a game that he can't win, cheated to some extent in that fight, not really, but still, beat the shit out of him, broken his Gundam, and his friend, who made the Gundam for him, sees this and goes, well, that was fucked up, and then takes his revenge, and he, a twisted, fucked up kid, also a pervy teenager despite his dysfunction, does some shit that's pretty wrong. First parts of it actually make pretty good sense, I think. Challenge them to another fight, channel Eris during getting ready, channel that whole energy of beat them down, fight them with fire, and bring to bear the information that you already know about the Dodoldias because you spent time in their village and know how they operate in terms of physical prowess and fighting. So, it makes perfect sense to fight them in order to get some kind of recompense. Then, you're not sure what to do with them, so you take them to your room and tie them up. Bad decisions. Bad decision. Then you're really not sure what to do with them, so you leave them tied up in the room. Okay, now we're in double, triple bad decisions, you know? And you think about what to do in terms of a punishment. Use them because they're helpless in this moment to see if this is the way to fix your thing. It's not. And that's where we bring the groping in. And he does grope them, and it's wrong. Obviously. Like, regardless of whether the Beast Girls are okay with it, or if he really wants it, or God said so, it doesn't really matter. It's pretty wrong. But it also makes perfect sense that he would do something stupid and wrong like that for the reasons that he does, especially given the state that he's in, and his, as Ed from Psychoculturists would say, sexual addiction relapse. All makes sense. Perfectly reasonable. Fucked up. Perfectly reasonable. The two things are acceptable together, right? He doesn't get any punishment for it. Hasn't been punished. Some people seem really mad about that. Like, they really want there to be some repercussions, some direct negative repercussions that directly follow off of this, and then we'll let them go, oh, the story is fair. Oh, it's just and right. Excuse me? Excuse me? What world are we in? Okay, all the way back to the beginning. We had this established at the very beginning of the show. Not with Rudy, but with his dad. What did his dad do? What did Paul do? Right? Paul, as far as I know, fucking raped Lilia while they were students together, right? Cheated on his wife with said maid who now works with them. Has multiple kids, double family situation, and it all works out for him. He gets like slapped on the wrist a couple times. He's still got 2 bodacious babes and the kids. Now, the universe karmically may have decided that the whole cataclysm thing was the punishment, but that's not actually what it is, right? In terms of direct, meaningful consequences, Paul got a bunch of good sex, is his good, meaningful consequence. Oh, and 2 loving families. That's what he got, right? That's the world that we're in, where you are a horn dog your entire life, have sexual relationships, or try to, in a way that has left every woman that you've been around somewhat disgusted by your presence. That's Paul, right? And yet, married, happy home, happy family, happy life, all these things. That's the world that we're introduced to in Mushoku Tensei. And then we go to the heiress's family, right? And they're fucking servants, and lying, and stealing, and cheating, and enslaving, right? Doing all these horrible things, and there are no consequences. The world doesn't act like that. It's not storybook fairy tale fairness or justice. It's more like the real world, where you can walk down the street and meet drug dealers with nice cars and big houses and no problem. Mafiosos and mob members living at large, donating to the police department. Billionaires exploiting child slavery continuously, with multiple wives and children by many of them. No problem. Or flying in child prostitutes, as we discovered many of them were not too long ago. Without repercussions in many cases, for a long, long time, and an indication that these issues are actually much deeper and more widespread in our real world than the ones we find out about, which means that many, many people are doing these horrible actions without any terrible repercussions. And that's not license to go and do them. It's a reflection that maybe Rifuji knows what he's doing here a little bit. And maybe what we are faced with as individuals is a world that is not so easy as this. not so storybook obvious as if you do the wrong thing, you'll experience direct and immediate repercussions for that. Yeah, but what if you don't? What if you don't? What if perhaps the repercussions are of your own making most of the time? Psychological. Or karmic in a way that we can't compute because we're so tiny and finite. Or long-term in a way that we just don't understand. Or spiritual in a way that's compelling to many, many millions of people. The idea that, well, there aren't fair repercussions on Earth, so maybe there are in, like, some ethereal afterlife where judgment will happen, and that justifies my not doing all the bad things. Whatever you have to believe, we do like to believe that there will be fairness and repercussions. But it's not so obvious that it's true. There are happy liars and murderers out there. They might have to be psychopaths or close to be fully pleased with themselves. I tend to think that nobody gets away with most anything. That you'll cut yourself off at the knees with every known evil you entertain. But I meet people who don't seem to care very much. And certainly, ethical norms differ. People in different circumstances, different cultures will go on doing things that would churn your guts. And do churn mine. And they go on happily every day, go back to their families, kiss their kids, and go out there and inflict torture or rape someone else's kids. And I don't know if they get away with it. Maybe some of them do. Some of them don't. Some of them end up in circumstances where they become socialized, where they hit enough boundaries around them to get contained, to figure out what normal should feel like. And normal, I think, is mostly socially developed and mostly socially purposed. Like it's for allowing you to engage effectively in your social environment. If you're a criminal, thief, liar, rapist, murderer, you're not going to exist in most societies for very long. Unless you have power. And the people around you don't feel or can't tell you otherwise. For example, if they are enslaved, or if they think it's normal, so that's Judy and then Fitz, or if they are conveniently, I'll admit, of a species on planet that operates that way in pack hierarchy, so you've established dominance and they'll just obey you now for the most part. It's pretty convenient if you are a narcissistic leaning, actually powerful, actual genius of magic with actual skill and actual, like, you're actually pretty compelling as a person, right? You've got some interesting information. You've got some interesting things going on. You're talking to the most interesting people in the school about the most interesting things that you can. Like, actually has some power here. And nobody's telling him not to do it. Hell, we had the opportunity for him to have a very different sort of circumstance at this school on almost day one. It was the whole Goriade incident. And I, like many of us, I think dismissed it. But I think it's maybe more important than we've given it credit for. Rudy was almost on the outs of the school, completely. All of the girls would have known him as a pervert forever, right? And he would be treated as such. It might drive him out of the school, whatever. But still, a different power dynamic would have been established. And it was Fitz rescuing him that gives him something like carte blanche, something like a get-out-of-jail-free card. And sets the scene for pretty much everything that's come in some way. All of this not to say that there might not be repercussions down the line for what terrible actions Rudy hath taken. Maybe Rifujin's got something up his sleeve. I wouldn't be surprised. We still haven't hit a fucking turning point, and our character had a knife to his throat 4 episodes ago or something. Things can change fast. This is Mushoku Tensei, folks. But it seems odd to me the way that the criticisms are being leveled toward that sequence in particular. I get that it's emotionally distasteful, and I find it so as well. But it's not enough to stop me from continuing to evaluate it and think about what it really means and where Rudy's really coming from as a character. I think his actions make a ton of sense. But then again, I'm coming off of reading Oyasumi Pun Pun, where you get characters and I'm sitting there at the manga yelling at the screen like, come on, man, don't do that. Anything but that, man. And then they go and do that, and you're like, wow. How correct. How right. How right, as I look back on my own life and the lives of those people that I know, how often is that the case? That I or they have done actions that are so obviously foolish and cruel and petty and self-serving and lustful and greedy and vengeful and awful. And anyone who was watching the scene as a third party, who wasn't also twisted out of their minds, would go, what the fuck are you doing, man? The karmic banhammer is gonna smack you. And then I look back at my life and I go, wait, actually, I don't know. Seems like the karmic banhammer didn't really smack me that hard. Uh-oh. That's a scary revelation. It's a scary revelation. To realize that you can get away with a lot of evil. You're actually capable of doing a lot of bad things. That's so much more true than like, you're a good person with a conscience and you'll know what the right thing to do is. And then you'll do the right thing. And then people will pat you on the head for it. And everything will be great. And if you do the wrong thing, you'll get punished for it. What a comfortable world that would be. What a safe world. What a compelling, safe, delightful world. Where you get punished correctly for doing things wrong and praised correctly for doing them right. Is that the world that you live in? No. No. Are you joking? Are you... Actually, the most common story, one of the most common stories that we have, is the best person getting the worst result. The innocent child gets tortured and murdered. The perfect son of God human being gets thrown on a cross and killed. You do great things and you're totally self-sacrificing and you get destroyed for it. You do somewhat narcissistic things, say, I'm gonna do things for me. I'm gonna reach for the moon. For me. For myself. I want that girl. I want that house. I want that one piece. I want that job. And then you go and do it. And that's the other story. You don't have to be often you don't. You're not a liar, monster, all of those things to do those things. Fine. But self-serving is that story. Maybe wrongly. But like in the real world, fam. Nice and self-sacrificing. And you expect the equivalent rewards. You gotta be very careful about that sort of belief system. And this is coming from someone who is, I believe, a strong optimist and a strong believer in give before take. even I'll come at this and say, hold up. If you actually think that the world is just immediately, obviously, fundamentally fair, and you think that all of our stories and narratives should equate to that, there's something missing. There's something incorrect. It seems really, really nice. People really like getting punished for the things that they know that they've done wrong. Often they'll seek out punishments for themselves in order to self-flagellate for the things that they know that they've done wrong. We try to produce this sort of a world where we get rewarded for our good and punished for our bad, but it doesn't really seem to exist. Except as social constructs, except in a human way. And let's not discount the human way, because that's real, and all the things that I say often about ripple effects are real, and if you treat the people around you poorly, and you lie to them, and you take from them, you're going to be in that society for a very short period of time. And karmic justice really will come for you, but it won't be in the form of some universal constant. It'll be your best friend stabbing you in the back because he hates you. Because you fucking use him or her or whatever, right? You'll end fast. And that might be a law of nature. To some extent it is. Our natural environment is society, and so that is almost a law of nature for us. But it's not like woven into the fabric of reality. It's not intrinsic to our stories or truths, and I don't feel the need to have it be true for my characters. It's very comforting to have it be true for my characters. It's very Hollywood in many ways. You know, the guy gets the girl, the bad guy loses, the good guy wins, and we do a bunch of narrative backflips to make that happen. But is it always true? Oh? No. No. The number of highly wealthy, successful, awful human beings is immense and growing. And the more success they gather, the more successful at their evil they become, just like Rudy is. He's becoming more successful, he's gathering power and respect and complacency in somebody like Fitz, who just sort of hand waves it, right? Feels a little weird about it, but then hand waves it. She's been around Luke, she's been around all these people. And as he gathers more power and more complacency and more respect, he is more allowed and enabled to do what he wants. Hell, he's got a prince who basically worships him, doesn't he? So then what's next? Rudy does need to get smacked upside the head a little bit. But not in a authority sort of way. Instead in a, this paradigm won't work here sort of way. Whatever attitude he takes from this whole circumstance, I want to see what happens when he tries to apply it to one of his other relationships, like Roxy, or, you know, his dad, or Eris, or somebody else who's not going to put up with it, and who might even recognize the change that's happened in him, and be like, kiddo, the fuck? Because Rudy is kind of, I can imagine him sort of full of himself with a whole posse, just like, yeah, look at me, I'm a powerful wizard, I've got beast girls on my arms, I've got a super strong prince boy, I've got the homies all arranged around me, come at me, and the world might. We build toward everything being okay-ish, getting a little bit arrogant-ish. There are powerful, dangerous, real threats in this world. Once we contextualize everything, it's like, well, Rudy's not that bad, right? There's real slavery in town. There's all this, you know, the rest of his family's fucking beast girl slaves all the time. It's not that bad. He's not that bad a guy. Runs into somebody really powerful with a real, like, core identity and set of ideals and principles, like Weird Lightning Guy or Orsted, and things get whack. Because what Rudy's doing might fly for right now. It might fly in the school. It might not fly against Nanahoshi. It might fly in weird directions once things shake out interestingly. I don't know. I will say that as I think about it more, I'm more and more intrigued by the whole set of circumstances that we find ourselves in this school. It's been a really interesting set of slow burns, and I haven't been sold on it at all. Nor am I convinced that there is justification for any of Rudy's behavior. Nor am I convinced that there needs to or should be. That's not how real people work. It's not. We're not rational entities. We're foolish, emotional, selfish, destructive, awful animals. Just awful. And great and beautiful and creative and amazing, but also awful animals. But there's a lot of layers here that can turn into cake, you know? I don't know what the cake is. Oh shit, this is all a Gundam metaphor from last week. It's not gonna make sense to anybody not watching Gundam. Hey, if you're not watching ZZ Gundam, you really should be. It's turning into my favorite show. I don't know why. It's turning into my favorite show. This one is still pretty freaking interesting though. But cake. It's really hard to parse things immediately. Hell, it's taken me a couple of weeks and multiple back and forths with people in the Discord and in the comments to even come up with any of this or parse any of this stuff about the sequences. And it's taken input from a damn psychologist. like Ed's idea of sexual relapse or sexual addiction relapse is like that makes so much sense. It at least explains a huge chunk of it. So that's a part of it. Justification? Who cares? That's not the story that we're telling, right? If you're actually still here looking for a justification, go somewhere else. That's the wrong story. Explanation, that's a different idea. It's a different thing. We can explain Rudy's actions. They can make sense. They can make sense without being right. And our main character doesn't have to be right or good. Not just now, but ever. So this is maybe a mistake that I made a long time ago, or early on. It's true, but maybe a mistake. The true part is you can't have a good journey of self-discovery and awakening with a character who starts in a good place. So of course we had to have Rudy be a bad person, and he's not just a bad person, he's archetypally the worst person. Useless, not contributing to society, bad to his family, looking at pictures of kids on the internet, right? Right. The worst person. And so we can chart a journey from there to at least okay, right? Does it have to be so? Does his journey actually have to go up the entire direction? Does every story only go in one direction? Does your life? The answer is no. Relapses, backsteps, they all happen. But even the idea that he will necessarily end up at a better point than he started is false. Again, I'm coming off of reading Oyasumi Poon Poon. Sorry to shatter your hope for the fucking most gut-wrenching manga that I've ever experienced, but holy shit. Nah. Doesn't have to be like that. And isn't that great? Just like in your real life, you actually have the power to choose. You actually have the ability to break all the rules, and you'll receive the repercussions that you would receive. Rudy skirts that line. He doesn't go too far unless he's got the safety net. But he does come pretty close a couple of times, and I think his actions with the Beast Girls are pretty fucking close. If he misjudged just a little bit their character or the character of any of the people that he invites in on that circumstance, it could have gone very differently. It's a stupid, idiotic, petty, vengeful, ill-informed, foolish thing that he does. You know, like putting a knife to your throat is pretty ill-advised. Same character, not that different a mental state, right? Right. Same guy. self-destructive, self-hating even, totally capable of egregious evil, and nobody is around to stop him at present. That's a recipe for disaster, and we're seeing a slow-rolling disaster. The question, the tension, is whether he'll continue falling that direction, or if something will change. So far, it's just been continuing in that direction, and that's what I've seen. Okay, last point, I swear. That's what I've seen, is people saying, hey, nobody's telling Rudy off. Nobody in story is saying, hey, Rudy, what the fuck, man? You're fucking it up. And I'm looking at it and going, that's the point, right? This is a slow-rolling disaster, and everybody in the story is encouraging it. Isn't that right? Too? In the real world? How many people do you know who get in really ill-advised relationships, and the people around them are like, wow, that's great for you. Oh my god, they're gonna destroy each other. Aha, so great for you. Even not having the power or whatever, people out of just sheer cowardice won't tell you off. They'll encourage your ill behavior, like, wow, yay, follow your heart. And we get some of that sort of an attitude from Fitz. That's like, this is pretty distasteful, but like, I guess this is fine and normal? Okay, sure. That seems just on the money to me. So I get to just sit here with glee. Maybe Rudy's gonna get smacked the fuck up for his behavior, or maybe we'll continue down this path further and see how much worse we can get. Maybe we'll find ourselves in a situation that really puts it all on the table. Maybe, I mean, we've had a couple of characters with their lives in Rudius's hands to some extent, or at least their titties. But Julie, earlier, her life in Rudy's hands, he's becoming pretty used to the feeling of having power over the life and death of a person, you know? Himself, Julie, complete power over the two Beast Girls for that period of time. Where's that gonna take us? What if he finds himself standing over an ideological or physical or real enemy and has the power to kill them? Where does that take us? Where's the Rudy who almost destroyed a town because they were daring to cause a little bit of harm to Eris? Is that the same Rudy that we have now? Would he act the same way? I don't know. He's changing, and not always for the better. And I'm more and more convinced that it's a good thing, or at least an interesting piece of the story. So, thanks for dealing with me blathering here early in the morning. I'm going to actually set up and upload the previous episode. Appreciate ya, and I'll see you in a few. Peace. Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I'm back. I already did all of my waffling for the day, I think, and so we can move pretty directly into the thing. Said all my spiel. This episode is titled The White Mask. That's Nanahoshi. How are we going to meet her? What's it going to consist of? How far are we going to get? Are we going to even understand what we're talking to? Are we going to cover the, like, you might be from another world sort of thing? Or be like, hey, how's that dude who killed me the once and then you convinced him not to? How's this all going to shake out? Or is this just going to be something like one of those Crossing Paths episodes where we see the white mask and just begin chasing it down the rabbit hole, but don't really get any further than that? I don't know. I'm excited to find out. This is where we kick off, isn't it? Isn't it? I think it is. So, with truly no further ado, except me saying no further ado, which is itself further ado, with Body Gotti having joined and entered the classroom, and a fun picture of him running around with Kishirika pointing the way, go! We enter into Mushoku Tensei episode 9 of season 2 for Mushoku Tensei Wednesday, or Mushoku Miércoles, as your preference may dictate. I'm Teeaboo. I'm here to join you for the episode. Watch it, enjoy it, analyze the fuck out of it, make a bunch of mistakes in analyzing it, tell you about them a week from now. If you'd like a week from now to be sooner, you can get that video a little bit early on the Patreon. Let's go for episode 9 of Mushoku Tensei season 2. Beep beep timer. Just gonna go for it. Let's go. Hello, friends. Y'all look shit. Oh. Ah, they're fun antics. Ah, that's not fun. Oh, Fitz. No, I've just noticed. He doesn't recognize. Yeah! What? Oh, she's just freaking the fuck out. Yeah! I think you should probably tell him. Oh, and she was using Ariel as the excuse. Like, no, I'm under orders. You can do what you want, she says. Your name is your own, dear. Uh-oh, shit. You don't have that excuse anymore. Uh-oh, shit. Woo! Oh, I didn't say that. There's a distinct possibility that there's actually no Nanahoshi this episode, and that it's a bait and switch, and the whole idea is that it's like a Shiro mask, and that's the hair or the glasses, even though those are a black mask. There are ways we could do that and make it different. I hope that's not what we're doing. I really want to fucking find out about Nanahoshi shit. But if we do 2 masks at once, I'm not gonna complain. Oh boy. she's actually been expecting him to recognize her? I mean, that... Give it... It's cute. It's cute. Okay, it's cute. Really wants to go somewhere. Home! Japan! She was a popular girl at his school. The whole story's gonna change to be a cuckold fantasy because she was the girlfriend of one of his bullies from that one bullying episode. So the whole goal isn't any of the romances we've set up. It's actually to fuck Nanahoshi to fuck over his bully. That's the story that we're telling here. That's the one, guys. That's it. Oh, okay. So what the fuck are we looking at? Okay, makes sense. I mean, conjuration magic is what's used for both in D&D. Something from nothing. Unless they're from somewhere else. Unless they're from somewhere else. Dimensional travel. Uh-oh. I am in emotional turmoil. And asleep. I'm sorry, what? That's her. Nanahoshi. Nanahoshi, we figured that out before. Yeah. Okay, Nanahoshi. Yeah, hi. Hello. What song is that? He recognizes it. Is it something that I should recognize as like a Japanese tune? Hey, wait! Oh boy, that was tense. That was cool. No music. Just noticed. Nada. Dozo! Yeah! Yeah, man! Instantly! Yeah, your blood all over the floor. Bad times. Holy shit. Ah, so mean. Full Jason. Great, good. Okay, that'll solve the problem. We can wake up calmly in the lap of a cute girl. Is that Fitz? We've switched languages? What? And we're subtitled in Japanese. Oh, because she speaks Japanese. So we're doing weird language now. Hi. Right, he doesn't know. We know because we got to see. Ah! Chill. Dragon Boy's not here. For a while? What? That's way worse. Ah. You're in games you don't know how to play. Okay. No. Yeah, he doesn't know me either. He just associates me with something bad. So we've jumped languages for that purpose. When will we switch? Answer fucking truthfully. Whoa, Japanese characters. She just started speaking Japanese. She doesn't understand it. She knows of other disappearances. He's neither. Right. But I do know the language. Right, we are both from Japan, but I'm different. I'm not one of the ones. You're before me. Which means those happened before you. Uh-huh. Whoa. Yep. Nihonjin. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. No, that's what's so interesting. He got changed physically. She didn't. She didn't get changed physically. Right, this helps with your stuff. Of course. So you're not part of the old game. You're part of a new game. Okay, but she's being really pushy now because she's super excited. This makes perfect sense. But he's like, he's in full freak out. This is not expected, right? I'm the only one. This is my world. No, that's my name. Whoa, 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 whoa. But I don't want to be the person that I was from back then. I don't want to go back. Our side might not be the same side. To do what? Blocked. And Sylphie doesn't understand any of it. Nani, I don't want to go back to my world. Dude, you don't get it. Why would I? Cut. I see. And Sylphie couldn't even understand. Please, you're excluding me. I can tell. Ha! Uh-huh. So then we're ideologically opposed to some extent, aren't we? Was she different? Okay, you were teleported as is. Okay, different games. She got pulled in the same event. That's... Dude. Dude. You should not have lied right there. I understand why he did, but oh my god. I was the guy who jumped in front of the truck and... Okay. Nor that Hitogami? Yeah, he seems like the type. Oh, he just got caught in it. Oh my god. Thanks. Yeah. That's the question. Fuck. But it's back in time to, like, Lapless time or something. It's an ongoing battle, and they've brought these people in for some reason as well. Two guys in that note. Well, I'm learning. Did you cause the catastrophicalism? What? Come on. Allowed by Orsted or allowed magically? Oh my god, there are so many questions. Fuck. Ooh, timeline hitting it. But Rudy isn't. He was born here, man. Okay. Yeah, I do get your... It is. But I think she's running off false assumptions. I don't think she's right. Unless that was what the Cataclysm tried to do. What if it was trying to send Rudy home or something? You what? Not born in this world. It's the opposite of you. No. So it's a physical manifestation of a law? Ah. So it's a natural law. Doesn't apply to him. So you're truly out of time, Nanahoshi. No. Stuck. Yeah. But stuck. Do you die? Do you bleed? Fascinating. Not enough to tell you the whole truth. But I have information. Oh, there she goes, answering the question. Rough. Learn to cook. Learn to cook. Okay. Want to stay here and understand? Ah, I get to try here. It works. Ugh. He was ready to walk away from it in the first place. Yeah, looks to us. No, plenty of regrets. Just an opportunity to fulfill them here, not there. Wow! This uncovers so much of the thing. Poor fucking Sylphie. She asked for them to speak the language. Yeah? Oh, Sylphie. Oh, Sylphie. Well, really depends on what you ask me to do. Incident. Can we bring her into the conversation? Stop being fucking assholes, please? Yeah, that's gonna raise some fucking question. Hey, you speak a language that doesn't exist. Weird. She's figured out gem magics in order to engage mana. Destructive. She's got those big boxes of it. Or were those protections? Yeah. Yeah. But a breach in time or something. That's what I was expecting. No mana. Just needs 2. He doesn't know any of this. 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 Tackle glasses? Yeah, but he doesn't know you have. Also got teleported just the other direction. Dude, put it together! Oh, I got caught in the incident too. It wasn't sudden, it was completely foreseen. She put the rings on. That's so fun. Right. Which is why I've always thought it was unintentional, but I'm unclear. He did imply it at least. Hit lead with the worst option. God, all of the dynamics with Sylphie throughout this whole episode have been excellent. Just been excellent. Everything with the language barrier. Can we go talk to Sylphitz? Can we go talk to Sylphitz, please? Alone? She is scary. But no intrinsic mana. Oh, and their spot is empty and we walk together. Come on, guys! Back to the bridge? Back to the bridge spot? Oh, come on, Fitzilfie. Do not fall out of the picture, man. Yeah, but is she cute, though? She's gonna take the glasses off. She's not gonna take the glasses off. Ah! Incorrect. Incorrect. No. Sylphie. Ah. My heart. My heart. That's brutal. That recolors all of this. Just like not being able to. Yo, you gotta be honest about this shit. But he's also totally oblivious. Didn't pick up on any of that shit. He doesn't. I'm sorry. Am I missing it? He didn't know that Sylphie was like a hard victim of the thing and was literally in the place, right? That Fitz was. That's novel information for Rudius, right? Am I wrong? I'm serious. I'm so sorry if I'm totally obviously wrong. I might be. But I thought that when they conversed, like, Sylphitz had never said, like, I got dropped out of the sky because I got mana cataclysmed. Right? That's never been exchanged. Rudy's explained the whole thing, and Sylphitz was like, oh, that's an interesting thing that happened. Not like, oh, me too. Right? Am I wrong? I might be wrong. Man. If next episode is a turning point, I'm gonna lose my balls. I'm gonna fall apart. This love has taken its toll on me. She said goodbye. I don't know, man. So, we start off with permission from Ariel and Luke that you can use your name as you please, which means that all of Sylphitz's excuses for keeping that under wraps have evaporated. And with that as our emotional context on this end, we jump into, hey, yeah, sure, I know a summoner. It's just this crazy weird girl who lives in the basement and has been making interesting recommendations continuously using her knowledge of the modern Japanese world and schools and stuff. And then says that she's not going to do that, but will for her own purposes. So reasonable. Okay, I don't mind that at all. Introduce the two of them, and immediately begin to feel like Sylphie has made a significant mistake in introducing these characters as they begin to engage in a way that she cannot comprehend. Throughout the episode, as fascinating as all the actual dialogue back and forth between these characters is, and it's excellent, super interesting, uncovering the actual mysteries of the show here, the thing that stands out to me about the episode the most is our third wheel. Right at the beginning, right at the end, and all the way through, Sylphitz is there, holding this decision and uncertain what to do. And everything that Rudy does, he doesn't realize it, but it is impacting his relationship with Sylphitz. And we realize it, we know it, he doesn't. And it's fascinating. First, she's watching him with other women, all the time, always. First with the Beast Girls, now with Nanahoshi, someone who not only does he immediately seem to know and have a connection to, but she's immediately all over him. I mean, literally and physically, right? Literally jumps on him. And we get this face from Sylphitz, like, uh-oh, what have I done? This is the look of you being like, hey, I want you to meet my new coworker. She's really cool. Oh, they're really hitting it off. Hey, boyfriend, coworker, why are you trying to fuck? Hey, I'm still here. Oh, you both speak Armenian? Okay, off they go, speaking Armenian. I'm just gonna sit here, only speaking English. Wait for y'all to chat. Oh, you're doing the whole kisses on the cheeks thing too. Oh, you know a secret handshake, and you're all best friends. Wow, that's great for you guys. Really cool. Hey, boyfriend, coworker, stop it, please, God, stop. I didn't want this. Oops. And all of it behind her black mask. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. And all our angles hold it together as well, and she's looking around all the way through. We use the ears, listening to all of it, frame her in the foreground repeatedly, but what we do is we treat Sylphie as an object throughout the conversation. We usually use foreground objects for this. Now we're using Sylphie's most defining features as objects to create other effects in scene. Not about her, but about the other things in scene. She's become subject, she's become an accessory on screen. She's not necessary here anymore. And that's part of the actual, romantic and interpersonal thing that's gone on here. She's been really helpful to Rudy. In fact, Sylphitz has continuously been someone who Rudy has come to for help, assistance, right? Information. That's their dynamic. That's the established dynamic. Now he's got a better one, version 2.0, and she knows more than you do. And you can't even be included at all. They're not talking in a language that you literally don't understand. Amazing, amazing. Holding each other's hands and everything. But then, of course, Rudy backs away, because the truth is that they have some distance between them in a very interesting way. Please speak a language I can understand, she pleads, and they don't. They don't. In fact, Nanahoshi follows that up immediately with, fuck this place. It sucks, and I hate it. God. And Rudy makes a whole bunch of decisions after that of what he's going to tell her and how he's going to say it. I'm definitely from the same world. I do intend to do all these silent and manga things. And our situation is different. Reincarnation versus teleportation, entirely different. Friends? She was that girl. And we pull to the window, because that's our classic barrier image. that window, right? Circular pattern bars window is our barrier image. Now we're barriered off. Now we're enclosed. Now we're walled. Ooh. And she's trapped too. They're both behind their own sets of bars, right? Bars, totally reasonable. But it's also bars between them that get put up here. Because Rudy doesn't say, oh shit, a truck came at you? Yo, do you remember seeing some dude jump stupidly in front of that truck and get dead? That was me. Who'd have thunk it? But if he were to reveal that, she might suspect something that I suspect, which is that she got pulled in somehow. She does all this conversation about, like, the sort of time slip idea of if something is materially changed in the world in some significant way and fate gets fucked with, maybe it'll just erase something. Well, what if that happened in our real world? What if that's actually a fundamental part of nature all over? Consider, Nanahoshi was supposed to die, right? Her soul is supposed to explode, or whatever happens to your soul when you die. Okay, supposed to get hit by a truck and die. Great. All of her friends, too. Those are probably the two names that she gives, I assume. That's my guess, because there are two boyfriends with her and then the girl, I think. They should all die. She suspects that they've all been transported. Thought, because of Rudy's initial action to save them, they were supposed to evaporate from our world. Rudy died from our world and got the rebirth chance because he's being utilized by a power that he doesn't understand for purposes that are somewhere between self-centered and actually nefarious. That is, Hitogami, with the power to do this kind of thing, yoinked Rudy from that world to this world. All this is dumb theory, so just bear with me. Yoinked Rudy from that world to this world in the moment of in-between classic isekai style, like Mysterious Being X. Okay? Here you are, you get a second chance. In the process of yoinking him, a portal or connection is created from there to this world. So the worlds are connected, at least nominally, or at least the barrier between them is thin. Then you've got these three souls that are just floating around because they're supposed to be dead in our real world. They're supposed to be gone and dead, but there's no place for them anymore. Their existence in our world isn't supposed to continue, but there isn't a place elsewhere for them to go, so they go to the easiest place they can go, which is the place where the barrier's already been pushed through, and get yoinked over to the six-sided world along with Rudy at a similar time to different locations or something, right? That makes some sense. But then the timing is off, right? Because she gets ported here at the time of the cataclysm, correct? I don't know how it happened, but it was 5 years ago, right when I arrived. Right, so she only arrived 5 years ago. Rudy arrived like 15 years ago. Okay, so they came at different times. Why is unclear. And for that whole period, it's like she was in stasis or something. Or the timelines don't line up that way or something. Unclear entirely. Maybe it will be that, I don't know. No idea. No explanation for that at present. Regardless, that's the timing that she seems to present to us. So whatever happened in the interim, I think there's some kind of connection there. Doesn't really matter, but something about Rudy's action saving them caused them to come here. Don't know how yet. We've entered metaphysics into the equation in a way that we really hadn't before. It's Nanahoshi using her sci-fi knowledge in world to present that to us, and I think she might be totally wrong. Because nothing that we've seen so far really fits fantasy sci-fi tropes in that quite that direct a way. I think she's making a bunch of suppositions that are incorrect. And being like a non-magic user in this magic-using world might be really hard for her to understand what's actually going on. Useful information, obviously, but correct? I don't know. Super fucking interesting. Okay, so we'll just go back and go through. I think that parses the big parse that I wanted, and then the at least a good mention of what's going on with Fitz, because that's such an important emotional undertone throughout the episode. Oh, it's so rough to watch Fitz Sylphie throughout this. Poor fucking thing. All right, then, I'll go see her, and we get the song and the tapping, and it's like all connection. It's all like, oh, fate and destiny all collide. And I love the lack of music here in the beginning and this slow descent in. It all builds us up to the horror sequence that we'll get as he gets his trauma flashbacks. She does the slow, ominous turnaround, and we get these angles that are exactly like the Orsted angles, and boom! Ah! Full freak out. Really awesome, really fun. And then dynamic and dramatic moments throughout. I will say, I was worried. I was worried about the first frames of this episode because the first frames of the episode look crappy. They look fine. They look like shit. Look at Luke bob up and down. Looks like shit. It doesn't actually look like shit. Just has that same quality of not being as high fidelity as the background and looking funky, right? But we actually jump into the episode, and for most of the episode proper, we're dedicated to finely tuned character interactions and facial expressions, and you can see where the budget went. It went here. This isn't Sakuga. It's not like crazy bombastic stuff, but it's fucking crucial, and I'm glad that it's done well. Every one of these facial expressions has to be right, especially the Fitz behind the eyes expressions, the moments where her eyes widen as she has the realization of like what Nanahoshi is saying. All of Rudy's subtle interplay on his face and micro expressions as he's actually trying to keep some things back while revealing enough to make Nanahoshi trust him. It's pretty delicate. It's pretty delicate because he doesn't reveal that he was that person near, right? But she does reveal a bunch as well, and it's not clear what she might not be revealing as well. Nanahoshi Shizuka, I'm Japanese, and she's that girl. Not just a little bit. And we get Rudy like, oh my god. Because she's expecting him to be like, oh my god, another... Finally, the two of us alone in this world, we'll be able to rely on each other and get back out of here. But of course, she's assumed that he'll be like her and want to go home. But we don't want to go home. Fascinating. All the man-god stuff is interesting. The teleportation circles thing, they're supposed to not exist, but they're in ruins where, and she says, I'm not allowed to tell you that. She doesn't say by who. So that's interesting. And then dismisses it. I just followed Orsted, so I don't remember. Bullshit. Bullshit. And a certain person that I met, who she's not allowed to reveal, said that I might have been summoned by someone. So fucking helpful. Well, what if you were summoned by him? What if it was his fault? I don't know. Or like an echo or an after effect or a ripple or something. I don't know. A certain person, they asked me not to mention them, but not to mention them to you, which would imply a direct connection. Instead, don't mention them at all. Maybe it's somebody that we know. I would expect that it's somebody that we know who's not intending to keep Rudy away from this information. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like knowledgeable monkey boy who knows too much and has black nails. I forget his name. We're foreign objects. And she doesn't say that I got all this information from that person. She just says that this is what I expect to be the case. I don't make things that I don't need. I don't share them unless it benefits me. And she thinks that there's some karmic cosmic coincidence that will erase her. Which there may be for her, but not for Rudius, I don't think. He's wormed into this world. Like, maybe parasitically, but he's built here, right? His consciousness and soul might be from somewhere else, but they've been inserted into a real-world body that's really here, and he's really a part of things. He's also actually dead in the other world, right? Not should be dead, but actually dead. So his soul isn't pulled to somewhere else or attached to somewhere else. It's all here. He's really here as far as I know. Unless there's stuff that we don't know, which of course there is, so I don't know. Taught myself a bunch. I've learned a ton. She's obviously amazingly intelligent and quite capable. 0 mana, though. And everything has mana, even dead bodies. That's pretty interesting. She doesn't age, he does. Our angle choices are so great. Sylphie, just examining things, is super great. And then later, Sylphie reservedly, like, how do I put it? As though she's been chastised, putting away all the things that are busted. Man, pretty interesting. I think this is a compelling frame as well. Rudy's been sitting, looking down for most of this whole series, most of this whole sequence, taking a lower like position from Nanahoshi throughout, right? Really coming to her as supplicating. But here, we hold on his face, straight on, head on, and without hesitation. Nope, I'm good with this. It's pretty solid. It's reminiscent of his initial promises to try in this world. It's like an affirmation of, no, I am in the right place. Which is pretty different from the Rudius that we knew a couple years ago, who had a knife to his throat and was like, not comfortable being here, at least. So that's pretty cool. No regrets. Different goals, but we can quid pro quo it. And so they will. And she hears that line and doesn't know what it means, but knows what it means. Amazing. Amazing, isn't it? And no backing out later. Well, we'll see. What's happening? Well, let's go back to talking human. We do. The tone changes, the light changes. She says the thing and puts the protective rings on preemptively. This is great. This is great, right? This is amazing. It's like somebody telling you about stuff, and they're strapping on a bulletproof vest and tactical gear. Don't worry about it. Just gonna put this helmet on. Okay. And I fucked your wife. All right. I'm just gonna lock myself in this room. Call me. Okay, hi, man. Hey, what's up? It was my fault. Man. It's pretty humorous if it weren't so fucking dark. I might have caused it. And we have the full eyes wide Rudy's reaction. And then Sylphie's reaction is explosive. Oh my god! And again. Full brute force. Hey, please don't. Please don't. I know you've suffered too. She said she caused it. Everything she caused us, everything she caused me, and then throughout the rest of it, she's just picking up pieces like, oops, sorry. A godsend for you, eh? Yoroshiku. And we get this moment of decision here, where Fitz chasing after cannot speak honestly. Almost does, and then doesn't. Damn, Sylphitz, you gotta make your mind up, girl. Actually, you've already made your mind up. You gotta say the thing. You gotta take the mask off. It's gonna come up in a worse circumstance that you can't control. Oh, man. It almost just did. It should have. Again, what is their current what is Rudy's understanding of Fitz's circumstance in the disaster? Because I really didn't think that he would understand that. Did he just miss it in context? He'll think about that later and put the pieces together? Maybe he's just not looking for it. I don't know. Either way, what a fascinating episode, and certainly something like an inflection point. Thank God, not a turning point. Oh my goodness. We've found out exactly who's behind the white mask. And it does a magical thing narratively, which is it reveals information, it pushes us toward our goal, but it doesn't answer our questions. It doesn't really answer our questions. And as frustrating as that can be, and it can be frustrating, it's like, come on, I just wanted the actual answers. Feels good to keep the mystery going, doesn't it? It's fun to chase that rabbit. It sure is. So, with that, I'm comfortable leaving the episode right there and seeing what happens next time as we move into, God, what even was the title? Right, the power of these feelings. Maybe maybe she'll take the damn glasses off now. Or maybe it's gonna be a decade. I don't know. Well, either way, Nanahoshi has entered the building. Absolutely no bodyguardy stuff. Sad. I want more bodyguardy stuff. Looks like we're gonna be working with Nanahoshi from here on out, at least occasionally. I'm excited to see how that plays out and what sorts of insights we can garner. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you next week for more Mushoku Tensei. Check it out early on the Patreon, and otherwise, I'll see you there. Peace.